Well, hi, I'm Tony Dufresne, and welcome to Surrounded by Idiots. This is the chapter summaries. I'm kind of working them out where they might be chapter summaries, they might be just videos of parts of the book that I want to do video on. So that's kind of how I'm going to work it. This is a fly by the seat of your pants thing. There's really no thing I'm following. I'm just kind of going with the flow of what I feel as though maybe I can add a little something to your readership. So here we go. This part here is the introduction. This is video 2, and this is going to be the introduction aspect or part of the book that you just read through. And I'm going to go over a couple of the pieces that I went through in this particular part of the introduction. The first thing is actually I never really liked introduction sections of books because I thought, well, if they're important enough, then why aren't they chapter 1? But I soon found out the reason why, and the reason why is because the introduction is just that. It's me introducing myself to you, hopefully being able to establish a level of trust and a level of camaraderie in regards to us kind of traveling on doing this thing together. Me really, really wanting you to get the most out of this book and to want you to expand and to move forward and to not have wasted, I don't know, just 15 hours of your time on reading my book. So welcome, and I hope things work out for you. So the things that I went through during this particular part of the book were the fact that people annoy me. They do all the time. I sort of thought it was a thing with me that I got pissed off at people being morons all the time, but it's a thing. And actually what it does is it just allows me to take more of an introspection or look at myself more and to work on the reasons why I'm pissed at morons. So as you can see, the energy's still there, and it always will be there. And that's one thing you learn through the book is the fact that this whole process is not about trying to radically change you and change how you absorb things and how you react to things necessarily. It's going to be shifting your focus from reacting to responding, and then also giving yourself a chance to be able to take what is coming into you, all these things that stir you up, and to be able for you to take a beat and then set yourself up to see if really that response is needed at that level. So I go through the things that annoy me, and I get through I went through the fact that that I've had past feelings of being stuck, and that's really why I wrote this, because I wrote this for the same reasons that you're reading it. I went through the same crap. And then I talk about my own experience. Then I go into this little thing about why you should read the book. And it's because, and I'm going to just come from the book here, it's because I was never a fan of the introduction section, but I get it. I'm introducing myself to you, just like I said. It's important to create some level of trust, a little mini relationship, so we can go along this together. And that's actually the reason why I'm doing the videos in the first place, is so maybe you can get a better idea of who I am and my whole thing. By the way, the first video, the introduction video, if you're not a Wes Anderson fan, and if you haven't seen Life Aquatic, that's what I based it on. So if that kind of freaked you out a little bit, if it's a little bit different, then this one, that's the reason why. So that was my homage to Wes Anderson, just to give you a heads up. So my story, I came from a scarcity background. I came from a background where money was a huge thing because we didn't have it. And my parents always wanted me to make money, and that really fucked me up big time. It took me on the wrong path. They wanted me to conform. I got judged for being authentic. I didn't trust my inner true voice. And then I became pissed. And then I went to that seminar and just got slapped on the side of the head by a frying pan and got woken up to the fact that I wasn't living really how I should be living, and I wasn't really following my true inner voice and really what my purpose was and what my passion was, which is actually what I'm doing right now, sitting here with you. And that led me to question everything. And then the atomic bomb dropped to where when I did go through that seminar, like I talked in the book, everything just exploded. I lost everything. I got into debt. I moved back in with my grandparents. It was an absolute dumpster fire that happened in that situation. But sometimes you got to break a few eggs to make the omelet, to use a really old, worn-out phrase. But it's true. The only way you can get past that is if you untie your knots. Now the problem is that the atomic bomb thing is terrible because you have nothing to work off of, and so you end up blowing up everything, and you're free falling instead of doing it sort of untying the knots one at a time. And when you untie them one at a time, then you're able to take steps, and it's more solid, and it's a better way to go. And that's what we're going to talk about throughout this book. So the 3.5 steps that I talked about is learning it, knowing it, living it, and it leads to an action part in a project. And like I said in the first introduction video, and as well as in this part of the book, shockingly, this action step, the way that I have it set up, I literally hold your hand going through this whole thing to where it's so easy. It's almost deceptively too easy, but it's really important because it starts to train your brain and get past your ego in terms of you starting to be able to create productive change in small increments as you follow and as you expand. So step one, I say it's learning the basic of how the world works. Step two is understanding yourself and taking some tools and techniques and to be able to pattern interrupt yourself when stuff happens and to be able to understand more why you react, why you think the way that you do in certain circumstances. And then step three is the whole thing, taking all of that, and it's called synthesizing, taking how the world works and having a better understanding of that and all the forces that are around you, plus taking who you are and how you fit into that and what you kind of want to do and where your strengths and your weaknesses are, and then forming a way to take that gift that you have or that passion you have inside of you and to share it with other people. So take it and form something in a project to where it impacts yourself positively and at least one other person, and that's the only requirement I have for the thing at the end, the action step at the end. The project is it's got to impact you positively as well as one other person positively. So that's this part of the book. And like I said, at the very end, I just say relax. The entire part of this, the entire point of this entire book entirely is to take the pressure off. It's to free you of the mindset that you missed the boat or you're too old or you don't know what you're doing or all that crap, or the life you want is out of reach. Yes, I'm reading because I want to make sure I get all this correct. Or that you're not worth it, or that you don't deserve it because you've done some shady stuff in your day in the past, or that you're too clueless to even figure out the meaning of life. I got to tell you, this whole thing is not about figuring out the meaning of life per se. It's about figuring out more about yourself and what means more to you and what you want your life to mean. Does that make sense? Because there really isn't a universal meaning of life. It really comes down to what works for you and what you want to do with it. And I'm assuming if you've bought the book and you're watching these videos, that you want to do something about it, and you've already taken steps to do something about it. So I applaud you on that, and I really thank you for joining me in this, and I'm really excited for you and for your steps as we go through. That's video 2. Have a good one, and I'll see you back here for video 3.